Hey everybody, this is John from aMTBer Products, and this is the Chainwax podcast. Well, I want to share a couple things today about chains and how important it is to get an authentic one. Basically, what happened was I wanted to buy a few new chains. I actually ran out of chains. I had a huge stash of them since before COVID for my 11-speed and 10-speed bikes. And I'm all out of 11-speed chains. So I wanted to buy some new ones. And I'm trying to get the lighting just right here. Trying to get the lighting right here where there's no glare. And that's kind of hard to do. But so I bought three of these. Okay, from an online seller. Price was pretty good. And I was very careful to read all the reviews. I could show you all the reviews real quick. So we might get into I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'll show you the reviews. But the packaging looks really good. Now the logo looks pretty good to me. All of this looks really good. Even on the back, everything looked pretty, I don't know, convincing. But then I'll show you how it, when I opened it, I immediately knew it was a fake chain. There was a couple things. Let's see. I'll just take the chain out. There was one thing that I found strange. It came with three. Let's see. This is the first one I opened. I didn't open the other two, but it came with three master links. I went, oh, was there a fourth one? Did I lose one? I looked all around. No, there was three of them in there. And they looked a little strange. They looked like, let's see. Well, this is hard to do with the light. Let me see if I can make this a little better. I noticed right away the number on here was very large. And I went, that doesn't look right. Then I looked at the chain itself. Now the chain, it feels like nothing's on it. It feels very dry and oily. You can see it's very loose. And it just feels very dry. Now with the lighting here, I was trying to turn the light away just enough. It's got a it's very shiny. And like here's a piece of, where'd it go? Here's a piece of a brand new real chain. And boy, it's just really hard to tell on camera, but the difference in the color of the chrome, so to speak, was right away. I noticed it right away. And a couple other things, like here's a little legitimate chain from, legitimate online distributor. I bought many. I used to buy like a couple $100 worth of chains at a time, and for all my bikes, and so a couple things. I don't have a master link here to show the difference in the master link, but I did compare it to one on the bike, and you can see this cutaway here. This is part of the shifting thing going on, and this rivet. You can take note of that. This isn't a hollow one, but you got this cutaway here on the fake chain. It's not there. It kind of has a little bit of a groove here, but it's not there. This has got this deep cutaway on each link, and again, the lighting is the problem here. If I put too much light, it's just kind of washes out. But that was the first thing. Yeah, I would put the light back the other way. I think you can see it better. So yeah, the real chain, it just looks like a more even finish on it. Now here was what sealed the deal for me too, was the X here on a real chain has a certain depth to it, and this one looked a little different here. The X here, I forget what they call that, the X glide or something. But there's this little line right here, and on this one the line is much more of an angle, it's more this way instead of this way. It's more this way instead of this way. So the angle of this line here really hard to do this, is definitely at like a 45-degree angle versus this line here is more like, you know, it's less. So I don't know if you can see that. You can really see the color difference too. This just looks like cheap chrome versus much better quality. So this is an SL knockoff. This is a EL. So it doesn't have the hollow pins, but has the cutaway here. And that, I noticed it right away, and it just felt like it had some mineral oil on the chain. It didn't have the regular packing grease. Now, I know they're changing that around. A lot of these chains are coming in more of a wax-based thing. I said, well, I can't determine that. But the actual machining was easy to see. There you go. We can see that line there, and that line are different. The X in the past on a fake chain was like a very symmetrical X, where the real chain, this is the real one, has an asymmetrical X. So they've copied that now. So the asymmetrical X is not a giveaway. It looks similar, but that line is wrong. And you know, the reason why I won't use this, even though, you know, is that a lot of people that put these chains on their bikes, they don't mesh well with the gears. They're noisy, which means they're not engaging properly. And, you know, I didn't even get the calipers out to measure the rollers yet, but that's really the big thing there. I'm sure it's pretty close. But, you know, the thing is that I've got, you know, a $100 chain ring on my bike and basically an antique $400 cassette. This was going to go on a bike with an a E13 TRS race cassette on it, which I do have, you know, a spare set of expander gears. I've got 2 of them. I found them the other day in my parts bin. I was like, oh wow, I've still got the spare gears I've never used in all these years. I bought them. Actually, what I did is I bought them in 2020 during the lockdowns because I thought, well, if I run out of stuff, this is going to be hard to get. They had just discontinued the TRS race. So I bought 2 of these, what do you call them, replacement top gears, you know, and they're in my parts bin, still in the package. I was going to bring them out and show them, but it's not important. So, you know, I plan on keeping these cassettes a while. They still have virtually no wear on them. And I don't want to take them out with a cheap chain. So I had already packed it all up and got the FedEx return and eBay thing going on. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to video this because people need to know. This could potentially be a big problem. There's other people that have bought the knockoff KMC chains. Let me just go to that right now. Counterfeit KMC chains are widespread, particularly on platforms like Amazon, AliExpress, and frequently suffer from poor manufacturing, rapid stretching, high snap rates. To avoid fakes, cycle forums like Reddit emphasize purchasing exclusively through authorized dealers, local bike shops, or official KMC chain store. Warning signs of a fake KMC chain. Identifying counterfeits can be extremely difficult without direct comparison, but experts and consumers point out several recurring flaws. Misspellings on the box. Well, I didn't catch any of that. Well, there's that. They're pointing out one, Kwai Mang or something. Incorrect KMC logo. Yeah, so I mean, stuff like that is really hard to catch, because packaging is one thing, and they can, you know, it's pretty easy to make packaging look legitimate. It looks like there's a thing about the M on the KMC. You know, I didn't notice that at all. Maybe the M goes all the way down to the bottom. I've got real ones out in the shed. I'm not going to grab them. But packaging is very deceptive. So that they've got that pretty close. So missing or imperfect chamfers, and that's what I was pointing out. This has got like an attempt to do the chamfers on this fake cane, but they're not even close. Poorly machined, do not extend fully around the link. Bushings and finish. Authentic KMC bushings have square edges. Fake chains feature rounded, lower tolerance edges and are normally susceptible to rust. Yeah, this one looks like it's going to rust immediately. It just looks like cheap chrome on it. And stretching out of the box. Counterfeit chains show immediate wear or stretch, measuring 45% wear rate or higher right out of the package. So, you know, and there's a video there that shows some of these things. So the phone started freezing up. I had to reset some things. Yeah, I forgot where I was. The packaging looked really close. I mean, it's even got the right little recycle look. Maybe that's not correct there. It doesn't matter. The packaging is too hard to tell, I think, because, you know, they can change packaging very easily to make it look legit. The size of that looked wrong. The number on there looked too big, and just the quality of the chrome gave it away. And then when I looked closer, you know, I could see the chamfer. That was not correct. So the real one is here below on the bottom, and that is a very distinct machining trait there. You know, and the real risk, what we just saw, is that these things have the potential to wear out very quickly and just chain stretch right out of the box, basically. And so, you know, I don't want to take out my cassettes. They've got the X thing, looks pretty close to the right shape now, but I noticed that machining thing there was wrong in there. You can see the angles are different. So don't use a fake chain. Well, that's what I was going to do. I was going to show you all the reviews. I don't have the eBay app on this phone I'm recording on, but here's another phone. So this seller, 99.4% positive feedback, right? And when I read the reviews, you know, like here's a 12-speed chain. We'll go into that. You know, it looked pretty legit. You know, 99.4% positive. Let's look at the reviews. Okay, so while I haven't opened the package, it appears to be just as listed. A new KMC chain, looks great. This guy's got an 8-speed, so yeah, okay. Don't listen to people that are still talking about their 8 speeds in 2016. I mean 2026. I mean, okay, yeah. So it was slow. The delivery was slow for an online seller. Okay. Accurate item description, fast shipping, good value, safe packaging recommended. Oh, safe packaging. That's an 11-speed chain. Good communication, fast shipping, good packaging. Item as described. Okay. Item as described, very fair price, quick shipping. Okay, so this goes on and on, like hundreds of these, basically. As described, great value, packaging, perfect condition. Yeah, so there's a 10-speed chain. There's another 8-speed buyer. I'm going to skip all the 8-speed and 9-speed people. So if they're still buying that in this, you know, they've got old bikes and they don't know. Received the chain, but only one half of the missing link. Yeah, so basically, let's try that again. Received the chain, but only one half of the missing link. Container was half open. The other half link was lost, I guess, whatever. Okay, so there's a good sign. Original new packaging. This is a 9-speed bar. Let's skip all the 9 and 8-speed buyers. They just don't know. Okay, here's a guy who bought a SRAM red flat top. Fast shipping, well packaged as described. So all these people are fooled by this, you know. It's all 9 and 10 speed there. Let's see. Here's an 11-speed KMC SL, which is what I bought. As described, packaged well, quick shipping, great deal, super happy, would buy from again. Yeah, until your chain wears out, like basically overnight. Yeah, and so the thing I wanted to show is people were putting these on their bikes and showing that the engagement isn't even correct and they're noisy because the engagement isn't even correct. So it's off by just enough. I mean, we're talking about, it's only, you know, a worn chain versus a new chain, it's like 1 millimeter. It's so little. It's only like a millimeter over a whole foot. it's all it takes to be off. You know, here you go. You know, great price, 11-speed chain, 10-speed. A lot of 10-speed, a lot of 11-speed. So people buy. I still run 11-speed on most of my bikes, but you don't see there's a lot of 12-speed buyers here. Those are the people that are buying new bikes. If you got 12, you know, 12-speed so it's a lot of people buying chains for their older bikes. Like me, I like 11-speed on my road bikes. Still love them on the mountain bikes. Lighter, it's lighter. I like medium cages. I hate long cages. So yeah, there's just endless positive feedback here, and it looked good. I didn't realize all the people were buying older chains, but you know, I went, okay, this sounds good, and I'm going to try it out. And what I got is a chain that will probably just take out my cassette. I mean, it'll be noisy, and I would, if it made noise, I would know something was wrong, and I would. But I'm not even going to try it. I'm just going to send it back, point it out. This is a counterfeit. eBay and Amazon and AliExpress obviously don't care because it's not up to them. But, you know, these companies like KMC and SRAM and Shimano, there would be huge legal action. And, you know, they shut one down, another one pop up. So it's just it's a problem that you have to police yourself, really. So there it is. I don't know if this is going to go wonky on the video here, but, you know, this one here, you can see the gap between the engagement here was so pronounced it made a lot of noise. This is a YouTube video pointing out his experience with a fake chain.
Still a big issue, and I'm going to...
It's not even engaging properly. You can see the gap there. That's horrible. So yeah, it's a huge problem. That's gonna wear your chain ring out immediately if you put pressure through it. So this guy pointed it out. He's showing his experience here. He's showing out some of the stuff on the packaging, which they've adapted now and made it pretty close. But you can tell there's some errors, and there's a different logo there. But they got the real one is on the left. The real one is on the left, I believe. No, wait a minute. Here he's showing a good close-up of the real chain with the chamfer and the correct X-Glide stamp on the side, and the fake chain he got doesn't even have the little chamfer at all. So anyway, that's what to look for. Here's an older video, which is, you know, why I'm doing a video right now, because this video here shows up the symmetrical X on the side, no chamfer. This is so old that they've actually, you know, I pointed out on my chain here, sitting on my counter here, that this is now not the issue anymore. But the packaging still has the wrong, I guess that's the wrong logo. I don't know. It looks pretty legit. But I guess the M is wrong. The point in the M. I don't have an original package handy. It's out in the shed. It's still dark out. I'm not going out there right now. But yeah, so the X back in the old days, you could tell right away the X was wrong. They've got it pretty close, but it's still noticeable. All right, that's what I came across yesterday. That was part of my day. I was excited to get some new chains in stock. I thought, based on all the reviews, it wasn't going to be a problem, but you can't go by the reviews. And as an Amazon seller and online seller for about 20 years or more, actually, a lot longer than that. But my current company, JLH Enterprises, I've been selling online since 2001. Before that, I was a distributor. It goes back to the mid-90s, and I've been selling online a long, long time. And, you know, oh, sorry, the phone here is a little glitchy. We live in a world now where you really can't trust these reviews at all, unfortunately. There's a whole industry of fake reviews on Amazon. And, you know, they might say verified buyer and stuff, but you really can't tell with most things out there for sale. But in the bike world, I just pointed out, if most of these positive reviews are from 8 and 9 speed people, yeah, they're probably real people, but you know, they're people that aren't avid cyclists. They're still, you know, riding an 8 speed in 2026. You got to question that a little bit, what their knowledge is really, you know, how up to date are they on things if they're still riding an 8 speed. So there's nothing wrong with riding an 8 speed. It's just, you know, my point is that you didn't see a lot of 12-speed chain reviews there. You saw very few, and the few that were there, they got fooled too. So it's very tough. It's a tough lesson to learn when you put the wrong chain on, and then 300 miles later, you've taken out your drivetrain and have to spend nowadays about $1,000 on your 12-speed bike to replace everything. So, but it's not that easy to see. I've got some friends that sell on Amazon, and you know, I talk to my friend Deb once in a while about what's going on online. I haven't talked to her in years, but we used to talk all the time in the early days of Amazon, trying to figure this thing out, all the little quirky things that go on. And you know, the review thing, we noticed right away there's a lot of fake reviews. So in her industry, she was getting Chinese competition, and they would have like a product listed, and within days they'd have hundreds of reviews. So these are all fake reviews, you know, in other industries. She sells nothing to do with bikes, but she's a very smart Amazon seller. She's always following the latest stuff, and I would run into a problem and see if she had run into the problem, and she's usually on top of it and pointing me in the right direction to save some time. And but she was pointing out the fake reviews even back then, 10 years ago or so, and that there's basically a whole industry behind it. So that's the world we live in. It's just completely deceiving. So anyway, enough of that. Bikes are fun, and it's not fun getting ripped off. It's never fun getting ripped off, especially on these super expensive bikes, man. They're so expensive to get one, and to take it out with something dumb like that is not good. It's just too much to repair based on a bad decision like that. So hope that helped out. I'm so glad I caught it. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen a fake chain in over 10 years. More than that, maybe 15. I mean, I'm wondering back into my 9-speed days, that's probably the only time I ever was a victim of it. Because I've been buying from the same supplier for so long. The problem is the shipping is crazy now. So I'm going to have to find a new supplier for chains for me. I like to buy, I usually bought 10 at a time, 12 at a time, and just do all the bikes once a year, or you know, well, I would buy about a dozen at a time. And in bulk, they were pretty cheap, comparably. And, you know, as I'd wear out the chains, I'd swap them out. So, you know, maybe once or twice a year, I'd buy that many chains. But now my chains last forever using our product. So, yeah, I don't have that problem anymore. My chains have been on the bikes for 3 years at a time now. This time it's 3.5 years. But I'm concerned. I don't want to take out my cassettes. So I was doing the chain measuring and thinking, well, you know, let's really get this accurate because I don't want to push it. But, you know, I'm over 3.5 years now. It's almost July. So it's a full 3.5 years since these chains went on, and they're showing 10 to 13% wear on the 3 bikes I've measured so far. So, you know, all's good, but I want to have some backup chains ready for the day I panic and just want to start fresh and not do any cassette or chainring damage. It's just too expensive, and for no reason. My main trail bike has almost 7,000 miles on it, and that's on the current chain. The chain before it is in the shed, and it's labeled from 2020 to 2023 is when it was used, and it has about 6,000 miles on it. And prior to that, that bike has about 5,000 miles on it. So this cassette on my SB45, purchased in February of 2018, which is, 8 years old now. Can't believe it's 8 years old. Just rode it yesterday. It's a brand new bike. It's so good. It's so good still because I maintain it. And well, that cassette has got somewhere between 15 and 20,000 miles on that cassette. It's somewhere in that range. From 2018, I was riding that bike all the time. Did a lot of the initial chain testing on it, chain lube testing, that is. And yeah, so again, once we perfected the product and the technique, by the time I put the new chains on in 2020, the products were perfected. And, from there, I started a new series of documentation. 3 years on that chain, 2023, swapped them out. It's 2026 now in June, almost July. So that's 6.5 years with 2 chains. And the cassette is still really good. In fact, I was riding it yesterday up some extremely steep, punchy little climbs in Chatsworth. Rocky, I was doing rocks for the first time since I've been back on the bike doing this sort of daily training. Went to the rocky stuff for the first time, and the punchy climbs, just positive engagement, like 100% confidence. In a cassette with a 3-year-old chain, 15,000 miles on the cassette plus, and it was like a brand new drivetrain. So, when I developed this product, it was for myself to get around all the problems and issues with this part of the bike. It's the highest wearing part of the bike. And I had just gotten so fed up with even doing the crock pot on my own. I was doing it, and it just was too much, and I've explained that many times. But so I developed these products here, these first 3. I ran this product here on my bikes for several years when I realized, wow, this is something. This is eliminating the crockpot. This has completely solved all the problems. I did these labels myself, just real simple, generic, like auto parts store looking bottle. Original, super fast, and quiet formula, stays amazingly clean, extends drivetrain life, and this was meant as the top-off formula for the wax drivetrains. I hadn't even come up with the term top-off formula yet. Like the term top-off wasn't even really around yet, but that's what this was. So it was smooth loop for wax drivetrains. This was meant to, and this is a little 4-inch label. It was really hard to put everything on here, but that's what it was designed for, was to top off your wax dip chain. And at the time, it was such a foreign idea. Nobody was doing it. Nobody in mountain biking was doing it. And, so that's what this was. What I realized was when I developed these other ones, this is the Ditch the Crockpot formula originally. This is LS1. It's also listed as a SKU as LS 2.1. Okay, but this is actually the first eliminate the crockpot entirely formula. I had been running this without the crock. Basically, I would do the crockpot and run this for like 30 applications, like months and months and months of just using this. And I realized I don't need that crockpot anymore. Let's see if we can get rid of it completely. So this was the formula that was the next level, that eliminated the crockpot completely, and it stayed so clean. I developed it for my downhill bike. I wasn't confident it was going to work on the road bike, so I simultaneously worked on this for more like basically gravel bikes and long distance cross country bikes. Now, these original 3 formulas worked fine, but then I wanted to make sure I could do a 100-mile ride. So I developed 5311 after that. And that's right there. And it's got a red line in there. Somehow that wound up on there. So this became the road bike race formula. Then I put this on the mountain bikes and couldn't believe how clean it stayed. So it stayed almost as clean as Formula 1.2, and I knew it would go over 100 miles on a road bike. It gets a ton of miles on mountain bikes as well, gravel bikes, and that's the 5311 I'm talking about. So from there, people started using all this stuff on their e-bikes, and that's when I developed Darkmatter to just like over-engineer the product for the e-bikes. And my product got virtually no attention except for Granny Gear. And then when Loam Wolf I hooked up with him, gave him a bunch of samples, gave him a bunch of bottles, maybe like 8 bottles that day. And yeah, he finally got around to doing a review about it here. And yeah, this video's got thousands of views now, about 8 or 10,000 views. And you know, he mostly was using the Darkmatter on the e-bikes and the 5311, I think, as shown here, on the pedal bike. But they were going back and forth between the two as well. So kind of just, you know, winging it, so to speak. He was paying attention completely when I was showing him the conversion and the application, and he reiterated that to his crew to test the product. But they were pretty much doing it maybe 50% correct in the beginning, not really preparing the chain properly, and they still had a great experience overall. So once you learn how to use the product, it's really simple. Here I am showing GMBN at the booth how to use the product and apply it, and use the little brush to push it in. And you know, so they were interested because it was a completely different approach to this problem. And that's sort of what I realized, is that to solve this problem, I'm going to have to rethink the thing from zero and start from scratch, forget everything I ever knew, and just let's think about the problem and what it's going to take to solve this problem. And so I had some ideas based on other industries and other, not even machinery. I'm talking about just formulations for like products around the house, like your shampoo and conditioner. I thought about, like, well, what would it take to simulate this crock pot dip chain and make it last longer? So I was thinking about other household products and formulations they use and techniques they use, and thought, well, let's just start from zero and go from there. And so I was picking ingredients, put my ingredients list together. It basically, the whole idea came to me on a ride one day, and I went home, started working on it, put my little list together, and started working on this process back in about 2014, 15. You know, so that's when I did the first peanut butter jar of it at a time, and was able to get through a good year on my bikes, and realized, wow, let's make some more. And anyway, by 2019, I did Sea Otter here, and you know, it really caused quite a stir. Everybody's looking for a better solution. If you've been riding a long time, you're just sick of the chain. You're sick of trying different chain lubes that just all have a mediocre result. And I wanted to eliminate that from the equation. You know, every time a new lube, I would try something new. I'd have some anticipation, and just always seemingly let down. Whether it didn't last long enough, like not even getting through one ride, you know, and then having to clean it constantly was the problem. And chain wear wasn't long. Here we see on the very first bottles, extends drivetrain life. That means the chain life will last 1,000 miles, but it also it stays so clean that it lasts longer on your rides too. See here on Formula 1.2, super fast, quiet formula, stays amazingly clean, extends your drivetrain life overall, and your ride length is long as well. And the net result is less time cleaning and more time riding, and that's our trademark catchphrase there. So yeah, Well, it's been a heck of a day, you know, going through these new chains that came in and realizing, oh, well, that's not going to work. But I would like to have some backup chains on hand for the minute I decide to switch out and not have to wait. All the bikes have older chains on them now. They're all pushing 3 years. I'm about to pull down my SB6 and get that going. I'm going to do a video about my older bikes and why I still keep some of them because of the geometry and how the ride quality is so good on some of the older, more conservative geometry angles. They're just, for me, they're just so fun. And I want to go over some of the stuff on the SB6, which I'm bringing down next to get some new tire sealant in it and get that thing ready to go. And the evolution of what I was riding before and what I'm riding after and why the SB6 is still in my quiver. It is a go-to mini downhill bike for me. It's got long chain stays. It's got a shorter front end. It corners so good. You can just rail corners on that bike, and you know what? I honestly can't even come close to that on the 165 or the 150. Those are the newer, lower slacker bikes, and I don't have the current generation of any of the bikes, meaning like the SB 120, 140, or 160, and I'm really not sure I'm even going to do any of those. I would like to maybe try out the 140 frame. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet for the next bike. I had my eyes set on an SB 135 frame and swap out the 4.5 with that for a while and do a 150, 135 travel bike, but those are long, low, and slack, and I'm kind of already over those bikes. The SB 140 seems to be more the thing that I would probably want to try next, which is more like the 5.5. It's very similar. It's just a 1 degree slacker and a couple other changes, but it's more of a really rideable up and down all mountain bike. All right, so there's our top product. Everybody should try this stuff. It is the original, perfected, 7 years of testing, Formula 5311, the best stuff you'll ever try. You'll know once you use this is the solution. All right, guys, John at the Chainwax podcast. This is getting a little long. I'm going to cut it short. Thanks for sticking around. Leave a like and subscribe. That really helps me.